Dobar dan, dobrodošli na kanal Kaponac. Zašto ovaj video? Pa dakle, postoji jedan Wolfie pilot, sveraš, kuglaš, krompiraš ili što već, tako se predstavlja na internetu. On je pilot, vozi mlažnjake, prevozi putnike i kaže da on uključuje Coriolis efekt kad planira svoje letove. Međutim, sam sebi skače u usta jer National Geographic ima neka druga objašnjenja, a to ćemo sad vidjeti na primjeru kada Nathan Oakley objašnjava zapravo što bi Wolfie uradio kad bi to planirao.
To have him fired over Coriolis misunderstandings. What I did was use National Geographic's example of how a not actual drift versus the actual trajectory is detailed. Now, I put that on a video specifically calling out Wolfie for putting people's lives at risk. Now, I'm not going to leave this as a joke anymore. It was me pointing out what a bastard George Netanyahu is for going after a man's job because of a mistake made on YouTube. I was paralleling that. Now I've had a little think about it, and 2 or 3 people have pointed this out to me. Wolfie is, in fact, a pilot claiming to account for a drift that doesn't happen. Now, maybe it's purposeful that George Netanyahu, a person who's gone after people's jobs because of Coriolis. Now, that was an engineer, and apparently you've got to understand Coriolis if you're an engineer. This is a guy who's flying and claiming to correct for something that doesn't happen. That's a fact. Now, I've cited National Geographic with a diagram showing actual trajectory, that's a straight line, versus a trajectory that you see seeming to drift. Now, that seeming drift is what Wolfie literally thinks he's got to correct for. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're correcting for things that don't happen in an aeroplane, that's dangerous. So while it might have started off as a joke, George, I wonder why it is that you, who thinks you know what Coriolis effect is, and if you do, you'll be in absolute alignment with what National Geographic make very clear. There's an actual trajectory that's straight, no accounting for any drift in the straight trajectory the projectile actually takes. And the drift is not actual. That's according to National Geographic. I am factually right. Also factually correct in the statement in error made by Wolfie that he needs to account for that drift. Now, if he's accounting for drift that doesn't happen, he's putting lives at risk. So maybe I should be getting hold of Wolfie's employer and asking him why the hell a pilot is accounting for a drift that does not happen. Now, maybe you should be a bit more concerned about this, George, you senile old bastard. Because if Wolfie is accounting for drift that doesn't happen, he's going to put people's lives at risk. So maybe we should be actually concerned about this, unlike your outrageous claim that bloody engineers who are detailing how planes are taking off and landing need to be concerned with Coriolis. Well, he was detailing how planes take off and land, and Wolfie's actually taking off in them, and accounting for drift that doesn't happen. So, George, I expect you to get in touch with him and express your deep concern based on National Geographic's very clear and detailed explanation of an actual path that goes straight versus an apparent seeming to curve path that Wolfie's correcting for. He's going to kill people. And I think we should all be deeply concerned about that fact that Wolfie is correcting for a drift that simply does not happen. It's apparent, not actual drift. Now, if me stressing that on a video means that George, in his misapprehensions that he tried to correct Brian Muller on, even though he himself doesn't understand drift, but felt it necessary to get in touch with another man's boss over it, well, I think it's equally justified to contact the exact same way Wolfie's employers. He's accounting for drift that doesn't bloody happen. That's outrageous as a pilot. So, Wolfie, riddle me this. Do you get a call from ground control? Ground control to Wolfie Clown Show. There is a man observing you from a non-inertial turning reference frame. Please make micro adjustments immediately. Do you get that call, do you, Wolfie, you stupid buffoon? Look like it's drifting. Yeah, ground control to major idiot. You've got to account for a not actual drift you're not experiencing.
You unlock this door with the key of
retardation.
Beyond it is another dimension. You're moving into a land of
bullshittery.
You've just crossed over into
the numpty zone.
Wolfie's an idiot.
Dumb. Damn.
Wolfie's a complete clown. Yeah? Now, it may start out as a joke, but George Netanyahu genuinely does contact people's employers based on their lack of understanding of Coriolis. And Wolfie is in direct violation of the description of Coriolis that is a not actual deflection that you will not be accounting for. He seems to think he's correcting for it in aeroplanes. That concerns me deeply, given that people's lives depend on him understanding how a plane works. And if there's no actual drift to account for, there isn't, that's Coriolis, what he thinks he's got to account for, then something needs to be done about him. Because he's going to kill people. And I'm being dead serious. Thank you for bringing it up, by the way, George. I really appreciate you bringing that up. It's nice that I can bring up the total lack of understanding of Coriolis drift. That's a not actual deflection experience from a rotating platform of a projectile moving through an inertial reference frame that isn't actually drifting, that's moving in a straight line. Wolfie thinks he needs to account for men watching him from roundabouts. That's deeply concerning. I think we all agree.